Artificial intelligence is a topic that's transforming the way businesses operate. Everyone's talking about AI. It can streamline processes, enhance decision making, and create entirely new opportunities. Some people talk about the positive angles of AI, some are concerned, but what about the downfalls? So we need to really talk about that today. And with me to do that is Dean Mercado, a business coach, good friend, and an ISSA show attendee as well. So,
That's right.
Dean, good to see you.
Always a pleasure, Jeff. I'm glad to be here. Thanks, man.
As I mentioned, I know I like it. I know you like it. It really helps. But I don't hear a lot of people saying, I've tried it and I had some problems. But I think you've got a list of issues that businesses and people like us need to know about. Is that true?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
All right.
One of the big benefits of being able to do what I do for a living, with a lot of coaching and quite a bit of consulting, is I get to see under the hood in a lot of different businesses, including my own.
Hmm.
Right. So, some of what I'm going to share here today is what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing, not only in my own company, but those are the ones I've been working with for a while now. Now, AI's been around longer than we realize, but it's
Right.
really only been in our public eye for the past, what, year maybe, Jeff? Something like that, you
Yeah,
know?
we've used AI for
Fully
everything though. Your phone, your Google Maps, you talk to a device, it speaks back to you.
correct.
Exactly. It's been around.
Correct. Now businesses are starting to embrace it in a little bit of a different way and more consciously embracing it as opposed to it just happening to be on a device they purchased or embedded in a piece of software that they use for some other reason.
Hmm.
So, that being said, let's get into our top 10.
So everyone get ready. This is David Letterman 2.0. Dean Mercado, share with us the top 10 you've got for us today.
You bet. Coming in at number 10 is jumping in on the AI bandwagon without a game plan, right? So getting in without a game plan. And let's talk about that because too many small businesses treat AI like it's some bright, shiny, new, cool toy that just entered the playpen area. That's not the case, folks. Yeah, it's bright, it's shiny, it's new, it's all of that stuff. However, you have to take it seriously and you must step in with some sort of a game plan. Now, what are the consequences? And I did myself a favor and jotted down a few of the consequences of each of these items I'm going to share with you here today. So let me share that with you. Consequences of this one are wasted resources. That's the biggest consequence. You're spinning your wheels, trying all kinds of cool stuff out, and you're not really accomplishing anything, right? So you get a lot of confusion that pops out of it too. And then you got some doubt, right? Oh, maybe this stuff doesn't work as we're throwing it all in one bucket. This AI stuff doesn't work, right? It's like anything else, folks. If you don't have a plan, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You know that famous saying from way back when? Same premise here. Why would it be any different, right? Number 9, choosing the AI tools that don't fit. Choosing AI tools that don't fit. Why would you do that? Because you heard so and so say it down the block that she's using it in her cleaning company and oh, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So what do you feel compelled to do? Go get that software, go get that tool and use it yourself, right? It's not that simple, folks. It really isn't that simple. So choosing tools that don't fit, bad answer. What are the consequences of that, right? Overly complicated solutions that you might put out there that solve nothing and frustrate everybody in the process, right? Spinning your wheels, trying to get something to work that just doesn't fit, right? It's like trying to put on a piece of clothing that you outgrew, a decade ago. And it's like as we get a little older, yeah, we're expanding a few of us a little bit. It's one of those things. It happens, right? So making sure you're choosing the right AI tool for the right reason is the key there, right? Now, number 8, as we go down this list, we've got treating data as if it's an afterthought, right? The saying I always say here, and I did say this at the conference recently, garbage in, garbage out. What you feed this tool and you get garbage out, and then you're wondering why you got garbage, right? You got garbage out. You've got to feed it the best data you have. the best information you have. You have to take the time to think about the inputs, what you're putting into this system, right? It's like cooking a delicious meal. If you want that meal to be delicious, you got to use better ingredients, right? The better the ingredients you put in, the better, the more likely better the meal is going to taste, right? So making sure that you are choosing those correct ingredients, making sure that that data is not an afterthought. It's a conscious effort beforehand, right? Now, another big mistake I see is number 7, right? Number 7, leaving your team in the dark, right? We purchase these AI tools. Our team doesn't know what hit them as we try and throw it on them and say, okay, ready, set, go. You know, and they're like, what? You know, what am I supposed to do with this thing? They don't know what to do with it. They're not getting the training on how to use it, but yet we somehow magically expect them to figure it out, right? Come on, folks. That's not how the game works, right? When we bring on our best employees into our company, do we not train them? Do we not give them what they need to succeed? Right? So the biggest consequence here is you're setting your team up to fail. You're setting your company up to fail. You're frustrating your team. You're going to lose some of your good players because you ignored what needed to happen here, which was giving them what they need, including expectations, right? As well as the training to get it done, right? So that's a biggie that we see. Watch for that one. You can't just dump and run, folks. You've got to really step into it consciously and purposely, right? Number 6, not integrating AI with your existing tools and systems, right? Everything else that you're already using in your company. Your company might be humming along quite fine. And then here you go, because you heard Susie talk about this really cool AI tool, and you throw it into your company just like that. You're not only expecting your team to pick it up, but you know, hey, now you don't even know if it integrates with things like your CRM, right? Does it integrate with the spreadsheets you use? Does it integrate with the databases you use? Does it integrate with everything else that you use to schedule the work for people? You know, your project management systems. You need to know what the integration looks like. Now, the fix, yeah, you want to do a little bit of research up front, but understand that no matter what AI tool you bring in, there is some level of integration that needs to happen. It needs to happen. It's just as simple as that. There are lots of tools out there that could assist in that. To get technical, one I use a lot is a tool called Zapier. Zapier I use to integrate a lot of different disparate tools from one to the other. That's just kind of like, it's kind of like a duct tape of a software tool that allows you to kind of get two systems to talk. And that's really, really, really critically important. You don't want to just throw a piece of software in there and create what I call, and I didn't use this as the headline, Jeff, because I call them AI silos. Like a silo, like you would put like your grain in, right? A lot of companies, that's what you're doing. You're throwing a piece of AI into your company and it's operating on its own, but it doesn't connect or interact or interface with anything else. Therefore, you're complicating your processes, your systems. Not a good thing. You're opening up possibility for mistake. Not a good thing, right? So that's a big one. Number 5, I would say, this is another big, really big one. And they're getting a little bit more severe and impactful as we get lower in the numbers here. But number 5, big problem as I see is trying to implement them all at once. They're not doing any of them well. And they're wondering once again, this AI thing, why isn't it doing for me what everybody says it's doing? Because most people are lying. They're not using it well. Misery loves company, folks. What can I tell you? A lot of people are going to say, oh, yeah, I'm doing this and it's the greatest thing. You should do it too. Really? You know? Okay, well, I always say the numbers don't lie. Now, again, remember, from the role I play for my clients, I'm under the hood a lot. I see the real numbers, you know? And I'm telling you, they're usually not as good as people lead you to believe they are. But if you take that first tip I gave you, which was number 10, was having a plan, you stand a much better chance, right? Training your team on this stuff, you stand a much better chance. Integrating this stuff in with your other systems, you stand a much better chance, right? So, but again, trying to bite off more than you could chew at one time, right? You don't eat an elephant in one bite, right? It's one bite at a time, right? That kind of concept. Same goes with AI. Solve one problem and then move to the next problem, then solve the second problem, so on and so forth, right? Now, this one nobody's going to like to hear. And a lot of it is still ambiguous. It's still gray area. And there's no way I can give you definitives on everything, but I can tell you that number 4 is you have to look after. In this case, the mistake is overlooking privacy, right? And protection and all the other legal junk that goes on around AI. You can't just use some of this AI and think that, okay, that's cool for me to just publish that stuff, right? You don't know where it got it from. These AI engines are reading stuff from everything ever recorded on the internet, right? So you could seriously be plagiarizing from somebody's copywritten material. Not a good thing for you. You could be plagiarizing off somebody's trademarks or infringing trademarks, right? Not a good thing for you. These are problems you don't want to have. So you're going to want to have some sort of consciousness around what you're using and how you're using it, right? And how do you make sure that to the best of your ability, because right now, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer. Don't take my advice as legal advice, but I sanity check everything. And as long as I feel that I gave it my best due diligence, then that's how I can approach it. If I was ever called out on it, hey, look, this is what I did to ensure that we weren't doing what you're saying we did. You know, it was never intentional. We'll remove it now. We'll do whatever we got to do to fix it. Not an issue, right? There's a lot of gray area, like I'm saying. So don't get caught like that. You can't play ignorant. You know, we're big boys and girls now. We have to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our company so that we don't get sued, right? Now, number 3, we're getting into the meaty guys here, all right? I've alluded to this already a couple of times here today, but expecting overnight miracles is number 3. You plug in the software and all of a sudden you're expecting, I could fire half my team. I could do all this. I could do that. I'm going to get 90,000 new clients. No, you got to be real, folks, right? And again, this starts with that first one I brought up. You got to have a plan, a strategy. You got to know what you want to accomplish, right? So making sure that you're not expecting ridiculous miracles, right? If it were that easy, everybody'd be doing it. Come on. You know, most of you have been in business for a while. You kind of get that concept. And I'm banking on, your sanity there and your willingness to bank on your gut there, right? It's not that simple, right? Number 2, as we climb deeper down into this rabbit hole, start getting into the people element, right? Putting your customers on the back burner is number 2 that I call it. We're producing solutions without really taking into consideration how it impacts and affects our customer base, our prospects. One big one I see a lot is chatbots on websites. And they're having these chatbots interact in a sales capacity with their prospects. Hey, I'm a digital marketing guy. Yeah, I do a lot of that stuff. I have for decades, but let me tell you, I'm a people person first. And when it comes to sales, right, I'll always entrust my best salesperson over a piece of software. Nothing replaces human interaction in pivotal and an important point in parts of your business, rather, right? So do not put your customers on the back burner. Make sure that you are factoring in that experience for them, what it's going to look like, how they're going to feel about it. It's like you ever call like a support line and all you get is the whole runaround. Dial this for that, dial that for that, dial this for that. Oh, and if you're in this country, dial this unless it's a Thursday, and then dial this plus that. It's one of those kind of crazy concepts. We have to be really conscious of that. So that's why I put that as important as number two. Don't neglect your clients and the experience you're creating for them. So now, are we ready to get deep into number one? And I'll give you a hint. It includes what I consider your best asset, right? We're talking about the human element in its entirety here. When we talk about, you can't replace human creativity, human empathy, right? There's certain humanness, that humanity you can't replace. So this kind of dovetails a little bit, but I'm focused a little bit more on your team here. AI is not meant to necessarily replace the jobs of all your people. It's meant to enhance them and make your people more effective, right? As opposed to replacing them. If they're good employees and you have them already, why would you want to replace them? Why wouldn't you want them to be twice as effective if possible, depending on the capacity they're working for you, obviously? So relying solely on AI in this capacity, not a good thing. I'm not going to release everybody who works for me and just use ChatGPT and several other tools and operate a one-person business with just AI. Now, could I? Yeah, I probably could, but I do this stuff every day. You know what I mean? So I would not advise it, though, and I certainly wouldn't coach myself to do that. And hopefully my coaches don't try and get me to do that. Not a good idea. So what are the consequences? When you have unchecked AI decisions, that can harm relationships. You have to put checks and balances in place to keep the humanity in whatever you're using AI to create. I'll let that sink in for a second, everybody listening to this. Don't lose sight of what's most important, the people, right? I provide solutions for my clients. They are people. My team is part of that solution and providing those solutions for our clients. They're just as important to me. If I don't take care of my team's not going to take care of my clients, right? You probably heard that saying. If you're wondering why your clients are saying they don't like the way they're being treated, well, look at how you're treating your people, right? Because it's a reflection. It's a mirror. How I treat my people is how my people treat my clients, right? So put the checks and balances in place to keep the human element involved and understand AI has a purpose. That purpose, in my opinion, is not to replace people. It's to enhance them. It makes doing things much faster, much easier, much more lucrative. Why? Because I can get the solution out to market much faster, right? I need to put together an email campaign going after people that I met in the recent ISSA event. You bet you know what? I used AI to help me out there. No, I didn't get it to write the entire thing, but it helped me. It helped me organize my thoughts. It helped me clean up my writing a little bit. Yeah, I use tools like Grammarly and stuff like that to help me clean up because I got that New York thing going on still. I got a lot of years of that. It takes a while to burn that off. It doesn't come off so easily. So yes, we use AI to help us with our ideation, creating the ideas. We have it help us, structure what we're trying to get, the points we're trying to get across. We can even ask it for feedback on things. Hey, how does this come across? What do you think about that? Sky's the limit. But these 10 mistakes, now that you know them, you have no excuse for doing them. So everything I told you here, you want to do it right, flip it. So everything, look at the opposite. Instead of the mistake of not having a plan, make it a benefit, make it a good thing. I have a plan, right? I have a strategy. Don't have one? Talk to people who know how to help you there. Even ask AI. AI will help you create a plan, right? Stress the importance of humanism, right? It'll comply. It will do whatever you want, right? But again, garbage in, garbage out. If you feed it good information in, it's going to give you back a good result. So, Jeff.
Dean.
You like this stuff? What resonates the most? Do any of these click with you?
Yeah,
or any of them outlandish and ridiculous?
We'll probably see some of this content in one of our print magazines, Dean. Just warning you about that. But,
okay.
just thinking about using AI. Now, at the outset, we talked about that. There's so much.
Yes.
The phone I have here next to me, so many tools. But back before ChatGPT came out and Copilot as well. I think it's called Copilot with
Right.
Microsoft.
Yes.
It's on my machine too. So, and
Right.
Grammarly, all these things come together. But instead of having Google open like I did back in the day, I have ChatGPT open, using that as my search. Give me another word for my thesaurus, another way to say something, and asking it questions as you do. When you think about Google, what you put into a Google search will give you the results you want, or maybe not if you're garbage in,
That's
garbage
right.
out.
Spot on.
Yeah.
So this is no different in that aspect,
Mm.
right? It's always garbage in, garbage out, right? If I train an employee horribly or half-assed,
Mhm.
what do you think that employee is going to produce out there when I put them in the field? Same exact concept. So yes, we are, and that's a great conversation about how AI affects SEO and stuff like that.
Sure.
And there are between, as you're mentioning, between the chat GPTs and the Copilot and Gemini and Claude and Perplexity, which is another very big one that's going to really
Hard to keep
hit
up.
it's going to hit the search engines in a big way, where it's replacing a lot of what we knew to be the way of doing things. I think you're seeing a lot more people do like you just said, Jeff, where they have one of these tools open and they're just
Yeah.
asking the tool. If they're using a Windows machine, they go right to Copilot. Hey, tell me what.
Yeah. To be honest, Dean, when I open up my morning, I open Facebook, LinkedIn, I do my social media posting. I open ChatGPT as my tool for search. It's just one of those tools like everything else. If I open a Word document, I'm probably going to open in ChatGPT, use it as my thesaurus, all kinds of things. But here's something, Dean, to think about. All you talked about is good stuff, but I can't imagine someone saying no to AI, that conspiracy theorist type attitude, and then all of a sudden they have to play catch up. I mean,
Oh,
stay with it.
yeah.
Just every
Bingo.
day learn something a little bit more and keep up with technology because I wouldn't want to have to all of a sudden be like, I got to do this. Kind of like a website way back in the day.
Yeah,
I have a website. All of a sudden, you need one.
that's
Catch up.
right.
Hmm.
That's right. And it's we can't do the old ostrich technique where we stick our head in a hole and just hope that everything's going to stay the same. I'm sorry to be the bringer of that bad message along with Jeff here, that you have to keep your eyes open. You have to be looking forward. You as a business owner have to be looking at, how do I leverage these? Because it's not a matter of will they take hold. They've already taken hold, and your competition's already trying to leverage them. You will be knocked out of the game if you do not figure out how to leverage them better. Almost everything I do in my business, I can do twice as fast now. And many things 10 times or 100 times as fast. Think about that. Now, why? Because I've been playing with these tools for a while now. So I've gotten very good at it. Now, that will happen to you too. I don't care how technical you are. Most of it is common sense.
Hmm.
Ask a commonsensical question to AI. You're going to get a good answer, right? In most cases.
It's
And
great
every
search. Yeah.
single minute of every day that goes by, AI gets smarter. And yeah, we could sit back and say, oh, no, I don't want to feed into this whole Terminator thing where all of a sudden these machines are going to take. Hey, if that's going to happen, folks, we can't do anything about that anyway. Focus on what you can control, not what you can't. What you can control is how you leverage this stuff in an intelligent, appropriate, proper way to move things forward faster, better, faster, cheaper, is the way I always say it. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
I think a lot of people, I have a few friends. I got one really good buddy who's anti-AI big time, and I think he watched The Terminator too many times as a teenager. Yep.
Right.
So that's
And yeah,
AI.
yeah. you know, and it's these systems, on that side of the fence, these systems are getting ridiculously resourceful and intelligent. And we can't even fathom the increases, the leaps in intelligence that these systems are getting. And because you got to figure every single person out there Everything that you say to these things, they're learning. And you're all guilty. Many of you, if not all of you, have a device in your house already called Alexa, right? Or Google Nest thermostats. We're all using these things.
Yeah, I've got all that. Yeah.
They're all listening. Your phone is listening all day long, whether you like it or you don't. It just is. Yes. Is it an infringement on your rights? Yeah. But try suing whoever's involved in that. Good luck.
Well, I installed the Nest and the Alexa, so it's my fault for doing that.
Yes. Well, there's some things you can control, and there's some things worth fighting, and there's some things you just can't control. But you can control how you use it. If you're using it in a prudent way, if you're using it where you're not hurting anybody, your intentions are right, then great. If you're using it so that you can rip people off and do bad things, no, not great.
Of course.
It's the tools are just tools and technologies. It's the humans that are evil. It's us, what we do with the stuff that makes it good or bad.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense, Dean. And I'm thinking now I think it's a movie night. I'm going to watch The Terminator and I, Robot with Will Smith. That's my plan.
Good one. There's another one too on cloning called Replicant or Replica.
I haven't heard of that one.
With Keanu Reeves. It's another interesting one. When you start watching this stuff, it could be a little bit creepy.
But remember, it's science fiction.
Yes. Yeah. Until it's not.
That's true.
Don't mean to scare you, folks, but seriously, use it intelligently, use it wisely, use it with a good heart, and good things will come out of it. And that's how you should approach it. Worry about what's in your control, not what's not.